I'm a supporter, not as big of a supporter as I was when he was first elected. When I was a huge idealist, I was campaigning for him, even when I wasn't able to vote yet. I'm not a supporter of him and the drone strikes. That's the huge thing that bugs me, because it's totally against the law.
Barack Obama may well go down in history as the drone war president. According to the London-based Bureau of Investigative Journalism, the BIJ, there have been 280 drone strikes on Pakistan alone since Obama took office, which is more than 5 times as many as the Bush administration ordered in its last 4 years. The BIJ also reports that at least 482 innocent bystanders, civilians, have been killed by American drones. The CIA reports a much lower collateral damage figure of just 60 civilians.
This is the paradox of the Obama administration.
The news coverage of the Obama administration's drone war took a turn just under a month ago, on May 29th. That was the day the New York Times broke a story that explained, at least partially, the discrepancy in the civilian casualty figures between what journalists in the war zones were seeing and what Washington was saying.
I think that New York Times article has actually changed the way that people are now reporting on the drone program. It revealed that the Obama administration actually counts anybody who's of military age that's killed in a certain region where Al-Qaeda is known to be as a militant. So in other words, the only way to prove innocence is after death and proving that they weren't in fact involved in the terrorist group.
Any adult male in Waziristan these days, we're told, is fair game. And the only way a civilian can be defined is after the event and posthumously. And actually, even there, when we've supplied the CIA with named civilians they have killed, they've spat it back in our face. The civilians have no chance of being recognized as such by the CIA under their present methodology.
He finished the war, like a very messy war, was able to semi-fix the financial crisis. I do like that he's made healthcare more accessible. My mom works in healthcare, and she works with low-income families. His views on women's rights, women's issues, women's health has been very liberal, very towards like what I see as should be equal rights for all.
But when it comes to a woman's right to make her own healthcare choices, they want to take us back to the policies more suited to the 1950s than the 21st century. The decisions that affect a woman's health, they're not up to politicians. They're not up to insurance companies. They're up to you. And you deserve a president who will fight to keep it that way.
He has great values of trying to get everybody health care. I think that that's great. Like, I feel everyone's basic needs should be met. I'm a pretty egalitarian person.
From what I see, I don't think he's doing a good job at all, especially with the whole welfare thing. People are using his Obamacare and welfare to take advantage of it, and completely cut out the system and cheat people who actually have jobs. I mean, I work very hard. I came out here a year ago. I'm on my own. I have to pay my own bills, my car insurance, my phone bill, every single thing I pay for myself with my money. And I had to do that. And I'm living on my own. But now with Obamacare and all this welfare bullshit, people are able to cheat the government, not get jobs, fake it and stuff like that. And they don't care. They just go out and have babies and then go to welfare and they cry about it. And everyone just lies. That's the problem. Everyone lies. It's almost like homeless people. You want to help every single homeless people and give them money and stuff like that. And half of them are genuinely homeless and will take that money and actually buy food. And half of them are drug addicts and they'll take that money and buy meth. But both of them tell you that they're homeless.
People compare him to the whole JFK. Remember after the whole Depression, the Great Depression, they had the first 100 days where they had all these programs to get us out of the recession.
The first 100 days of any presidency has become a benchmark for success and can set the tone for an entire administration. Some of our country's most popular presidents face intense challenges in their first 100 days, but battled through them and were better for it.
Obama, very much like Kennedy, it's the youth. It's that, we're going to fix things.
Obama had something similar after the great George W. Bush left office.
There was still fear at the time of Obama's inauguration that this recession could turn to a depression, that at any moment the stock market might just drop and the bottom might fall out.
Wall Street has its worst showing ever on an inaugural day.
Companies were downsizing massively. Home prices were tumbling. I mean, the Great Recession was a real hole, and Obama was trying to dig us out of it.
We weren't doing so well, and Obama came in, and he had the same idea as JFK, where he had programs to get us out of this whole hole. I feel like he's done a good job, but after a while, I think he's done all he currently can do.
One of the things President Obama had to do right out the gate was get the economy up and running. So the stimulus package became the golden bow event. He had to get that through Congress.
It's a plan that will save or create 3 to 4 million jobs over the next few years.
We would lose 800,000 jobs in that month that we took office, with a 1 in 3 chance that we'd have a second Great Depression. The Recovery Act was essential. If we didn't have the Recovery Act, we wouldn't have a recovery. It's as simple as that.
We need someone new in office that has fresh ideas about what we can do for improvement, as long as they're part of the Democratic Party.
Not to be cliche or to say, oh, you're a fan because of his ethnicity. No, to me it goes beyond that. In addition to the other Democrats who were before him, they're doing a lot for our age. And so I wouldn't even just say for African Americans. I'm just going to say he's doing a lot for the younger population, which is who got him into, presidency anyway. I know in Tennessee, I don't know if it's here, but in Tennessee, you're able to go to community college for 2 years for free, and that was because of Obama.
One state is starting what could be the first of many experiments with free community college. President Obama has been making the case for it on the road this week.
This year, community colleges in Tennessee are anticipating record enrollment as part of a new statewide program called Tennessee Promise.
Here in Nashville, Tennessee, the governor is implementing a new program that guarantees community college to students for free for 2 years. Some experts say it could be a game changer in higher education. And Tennessee is the first state in the country to give it a shot.
It gives those students who truly, truly want to make something of themselves by going to school, thinking that they have to have an associate's degree to get a job, to be able to just go and do it, even if you feel like you can't afford it because it's already paid for you, So I love that because I feel like education should be free. If it's supposed to be one of those things that is essential to getting you a quote-unquote good job, you should provide them with the tools to be able to do that.
By the end of this decade, 2 in 3 job openings will require some higher education. 2 in 3. And yet we still live in a country where too many bright, striving Americans are priced out of the education they need. It's not fair to them, and it's sure not smart for our future. And that's why I'm sending this Congress a bold new plan to lower the cost of community college to 0.
I'm not a supporter. Even for the people who did elect Obama the first time around, they had all this hope and they saw him as a positive character. I know for me, I saw him as someone who was just speaking a lot of bull crap and nothing really seemed true. You could tell a lot about a person the way they speak, and a lot of what he says doesn't add up with just the way he carries himself and even the way he moves his eyes or just his posture, his nonverbal communication just doesn't add up to the verbal. And it just plain and simple, he was never someone that I felt like I could trust.
I watch the president, and sometimes the words are okay, but you just look at the body language. There's something going on. There's something going on, and the words are not often okay.
What does that mean, there's something going on?
There's just bad feeling, and a lot of bad feeling about him.
I love the fact that Michelle Obama's really involved. I feel like there hasn't been a lot of first ladies who's been involved within the community.
Her mission is pretty ambitious, launching a national campaign to get kids healthy.
This isn't like a disease where we're still waiting for the cure to be discovered. We have everything we need right now to help our kids lead healthy lives.
Dr. Jill Biden and First Lady Michelle Obama are challenging all Americans to find ways to support military families.
We're going to keep on working to ensure that you and your families have the jobs you deserve and the support this nation owes you. And that's not just my vow to you as First Lady, it's my vow to you for the rest of my life.
The First Lady made a surprise visit in North London,
visiting to launch her global initiative, Let Girls Learn.
There are so many others across the globe who are just as hungry to succeed, but they never have the chance to go to school. And that is such a profound loss for our world. I'm thinking about all of the young people, particularly girls and girls of color, who in years ahead will come to this place and they will look up and they will see an image of someone who looks like them hanging on the wall.
The changes that he has made, it facilitates discussion, which is good, but it got blown up and it kind of turned everyone against each other.
His role is very important in that he was the first African American president. And I also think that he came into his presidency at a very difficult time. You know, the country wasn't necessarily in like the best place that it's ever been in. And I think he's brave for kind of taking that on.
I think that he helped fix a lot of the things that Bush fucked up.
Like, he was given the torch in such a dishonorable way. The United States was already like downhill. So it was just like, how much do you expect a person to be able to do with the little amount of time that they have?
He's actually doing good things. He's helping the middle class. He's helping the lower class. Of course, the high class isn't going to like that. He's been in office now for 8 years? He hasn't been able to get stuff done because Congress has basically frozen because they're stubborn. I love this last period of his time in the office right now with all his presidential orders, because I feel like he struggled so much for 8 years wanting to do these things for us. And finally he's just like, executive order, executive order, executive order.
The president plans to issue executive orders to bypass what he considers to be an uncooperative Congress. White House senior advisor Dan Pfeiffer announced on the White House official blog that, quote, the president will continue to do everything in his power with and without Congress to create economic opportunity for all Americans. And if you don't believe him, the president has a webpage listing his executive decrees. There's his executive action regarding the Democratic Republic of Congo, his executive action blocking the property of additional persons contributing to the situation in Ukraine. In other words, sanctions. We have his decree on minimum wage for government contractors and White House preparations for the impact of climate change. Of course, we've had executive actions delaying Obamacare, and Obama announced this week that he'll use executive action to address the border crisis. And last year, when he couldn't convince Congress to pass more gun control, the president issued 23 executive actions on our Second Amendment rights.
You can't support somebody you don't know. I don't really know him like that. I don't know his birthday. I don't know his background. All I know is he's the president and his name's Obama.
I don't know everything that goes on in Washington, D.C. behind closed doors. And like a lot of the things, we just don't know. We know so little that goes on in our country. You know what I mean? Like, they tell us so little. Maybe he made one decision that looks so bad, but really he did it to save us from like an even worse decision that we can't know about. You know what I mean? We don't know anything.
I think the media is really nihilistic. It's about making money. What makes money in this country happens to be avoiding difficult truths about our society.
Thousands and thousands of people were cheering as that building was coming down.
You have to get rid of this ignorant and meddlesome majority, control them, make sure they do the right things, all for their own good, incidentally.
Congresswoman, let me interrupt you just for a moment. We've got some breaking news out of Miami. Justin Bieber has been arrested on a number of charges.
Good journalism today has the state in its crosshairs, and you never want to punch down. You always want to punch up.
I'm amused at people who claim that the governments don't lie. Really? You know human beings that never lie? Of course they lie!
There's a good balance between doing what's best for the country, and those decisions are usually long-term results, versus getting reelected so that you can finish your work. I think that he's made some good trade-offs between getting reelected, decisions, that make him popular, and decisions that are better for us in the long term.